In today's lesson, I just want to quickly review adding and subtracting rational expressions. We did this in Algebra 2, so this is just kind of a quick review. So starting out something simple, as you can see, here we have common denominators. So when you have common denominators, you can just add the numerators. So we can just combine like terms. 4x plus x is 5x. And then 7 plus -6 is 1. And then the denominator stays the same as x plus 10. After you combine, you always look to see if you can factor and cancel. But in this case, we cannot. That right there is your final answer. But now let's do an example where we do not have a common denominator. So here is a rational expression where we do not have a common denominator. What we want to do is just start by factoring anything that can be factored. So the denominator can factor to y plus 5 times y plus 2. So now we can see that the two denominators share this y plus 5. But then over here we have a y plus 2, and this one needs that y plus 2. So I will multiply top and bottom by y plus 2. So now we have the same denominator, but I'm going to need to distribute here so that I can combine my numerators. So you could probably have done this all in one step, but you can see I just distributed and now you can combine. So that would go to 4y plus 6 and then keep the denominator, y plus 2 and y plus 5. And then once again, always look to see after you combine if you can factor, just in case something else cancels. Well, in this case, all you can do is factor out a 2, and you're left with 2y plus 3, which won't cancel this time. But in a later example, it might. So there's just a quick review on adding rational expressions, and now we'll do a couple examples where we subtract. So starting out, another example where we have common denominators. So all we need to do is simplify the numerators. The only thing with subtraction that you have to be careful of is that you are subtracting both of those terms. So you have to think of it as 3x minus 2x. And then that's a -8 minus -5. So it's just, I see students make silly mistakes with subtracting all the time. So 3x minus 2x is x, and then -5 minus, or -8 minus -5 is a -3 over x squared minus 9, and then just double check, is there anything I can factor? And in this case, the denominator can go down to x plus 3, x minus 3. And then these can cancel, so you're left with 1 over x plus 3. All right, here is just our last example. So same idea, subtracting, but we need a common denominator. So what we can do is I'll take this denominator, x plus 3, and multiply over here, top and bottom. Take this denominator, x plus 3, and multiply over here, or x plus 8. And then what I'll need to do is simplify before I can combine the numerators. So now I can subtract those numerators, but be careful with that subtraction sign. It's a -3x and a -24. So it will simplify to 6x squared plus 15x minus 24 all over x plus 3, x plus 8. I always keep the denominator in factored form because you always want to double check to see if I can now factor the numerator and see if anything cancels. The numerator, let's see, it has a GCF of 3, and you're left with 2x squared plus 5x minus 8. And then x plus 3, x plus 8. And then you can look to see if this factors, but actually in this case it doesn't. So nothing else will cancel, but you always want to look for it when you're solving these. So there is your quick review on adding and subtracting rational expressions. Good luck with the lesson.